my goodness, I'm freezing. Do you want
Thanks
to
so
drink?
much for pulling off an amazing day. Like, you did amazing. Well, I know there's more stuff going on that I'd love to talk about later, but just, can you and I have a conversation one-on-one after this is all done?
Baylen asked for one private conversation, and Sammi reacted like she had just been summoned to the principal's office. But the real drama is not what Baylen said, it is why Sammi immediately assumed she had done something wrong. The teaser takes place during Baylen's pink, picture-perfect pre-wedding celebration. Baylen is wearing her bridal sash, the room is decorated for her big moment. Everything should feel light, joyful, and exciting. Instead, the atmosphere changes the second Baylen approaches her sister. Baylen tells Sammi, "I know there's more stuff going on that I'd love to talk about later, but can you and I have a conversation one-on-one after this is all done?" Now, on paper, that sounds mature. Baylen is not causing a scene in front of the guests. She is asking to speak privately after the party. Usually, that is the respectful way to handle a family issue. But there is one tiny problem. The phrase, "there's more stuff going on," is incredibly vague. It tells Sammi that there is a problem without telling her what the problem actually is. So now, Sammi has to stand there for the rest of the celebration, smiling for everyone, while mentally reviewing every interaction she has had. And her body language makes that anxiety impossible to miss. Sammy's arms are tightly crossed. Her cardigan is wrapped around her like armor. She looks downward, presses her lips together, and gives Baylen a nervous little smile before asking what the conversation is about. Now, that does not automatically prove guilt, jealousy, or bad intentions. Body language is not a confession, but it does show that Sammi feels threatened by the conversation before it has even happened. Then comes the line TLC knew would ignite the audience. What did I do? That question reveals something important. Sammi doesn't ask, what does Baylen want to discuss? She immediately assumes she is being blamed. And that's where the comment section completely exploded. One side believes Sammi did absolutely nothing wrong. Viewers accused Baylen of slipping into full bridezilla mode and treating her sister like an employee who had failed to complete an assignment. Several commenters argued that other relatives handled the ordering, planning, and practical work while balancing jobs and living out of state. Their argument was simple. Sammi is Baylen's sister. She is not her personal wedding assistant. Some viewers also referenced earlier wedding planning tensions, including expectations about dresses, participation, and getting every detail exactly right. To them, this conversation was not an isolated moment. It was the latest example of Baylen becoming more demanding as the wedding approached. But hold on to that thought, because the other side sees the situation completely differently. Plenty of viewers believe Sammi appeared disconnected from the celebration and should have made more of an effort. They noticed that Baylen seems to be the one repeatedly reaching out for conversations, while Sammi appears distant, uncomfortable, or uninterested. One commenter described it as a one-way sisterhood. Others wondered whether Sammi was jealous. Not necessarily jealous of the wedding itself, but jealous of how Baylen's relationship with Colin could change their family dynamic. And honestly, that possibility deserves more nuance than simply calling Sammi jealous. A sibling getting married can create complicated emotions. You can be genuinely happy for someone and still feel afraid that your relationship with them is changing. You can support the wedding while grieving the version of the family that existed before it. Some viewers speculated that Sammi may be scared of losing Baylen to Colin. Others pointed to personal struggles, distance from the family, or anxiety that could make large celebrations and wedding expectations more overwhelming for her. None of that excuses rude behavior, if rude behavior actually happened. But this teaser has not shown us what Sammi supposedly did. It has only shown us Baylen announcing that a conversation needs to happen, and Sammi panicking about it. That distinction matters. TLC wants viewers debating the verdict before presenting the evidence. The caption itself asks, "What did I do?" and promises that Baylen wants a word with Sammi. That wording automatically positions the conversation like an interrogation. But there may be a far less dramatic explanation. Baylen could simply want to address Sammy's emotional distance before resentment grows. Maybe she senses her sister is struggling and wants honesty. Maybe Sammi made comments that were not included in this short clip. Or Baylen could be overwhelmed by wedding pressure and directing that frustration towards the easiest person to confront. One viewer even suggested that Colin may be putting pressure on Baylen to make everything perfect, and Baylen is passing that pressure down the family chain. That's speculation, but it describes a very common reality TV pattern. Stress moves downhill until somebody becomes the designated problem, and right now, that person appears to be Sammi. Seriously, there's also an uncomfortable truth about Baylen being the center of the show. Of course, the wedding storyline revolves around her. It's her relationship, her celebration, and her television series. But being the central character does not mean every relative must become a supporting actor whose only job is to create Baylen's perfect experience. At the same time, Sammi can't expect everyone to understand her silence without communicating. If she feels excluded, anxious, resentful, or afraid of losing her sister, she has to eventually say that out loud. Otherwise, withdrawn behavior can easily be interpreted as indifference. That's why this confrontation could either heal their relationship or make everything worse. If Baylen enters the conversation genuinely curious about Sammy's feelings, they might finally address the tension underneath the wedding drama. But if Baylen enters with a list of accusations, well, Sammy's defensive walls are only going to rise higher. So which sister is being misunderstood? Is Baylen setting a reasonable boundary with someone who has checked out of an important family moment? Or is Sammi becoming the target of impossible wedding expectations simply because she's not performing excitement the way everyone wants? Tell me whose side you're on, because this comment section is going to be divided. Like the video, subscribe to Truth Talk Tribe, and let's see whether this private conversation exposes real jealousy or just another case of wedding stress being turned into reality TV drama.